Hey everyone, I'm Nicole,
And I'm Gabrielle.
and we are the hosts of the Spiritual Sisters podcast.
Join us every week as we discuss all the spiritual topics like astrology, mediumship, psychic insights, and so much more.
We are often joined by others we have met along our spiritual journey who are well versed in many of these areas.
Get ready for enlightening discussions and interviews and personal experiences that we hope will expand your mind and get you thinking outside of the box.
Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just beginning your spiritual journey, there's something here for everyone.
Check us out every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts. See you then.
Bye!
Hi, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Soul Ecosystem Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Rising, and on this podcast, we discuss all things soul contracts. I am a professional soul contract reader, and I work with a modality that combines Jewish mysticism, astrology, tarot, and numerology to bring about what you incarnated here to do. And today, we're going to be looking into a very special soul contract. We're going to be celebrating the release of The Devil Wears Prada 2 by looking into Anne Hathaway's soul contract. And I'm going to be straight with you guys. I haven't looked at it yet. I kind of want you guys to see my genuine reaction as I'm going through it. But I've already taken a look at her two primary numbers because she was born on November 12th. And that's already giving us a lot of information. I can't wait to dive into that with you. But in honor of The Devil Wears Prada 2 coming out, I actually revisited the first one with my husband because I was like, it's been so long since I've seen that movie. I'm like, I wonder if it's going to hit a different way. And it hit totally different. I remember watching it the first time and like feeling bad for the boyfriend that she like missed out on his birthday or something. And while I was watching it this time with my husband, I'm like, if you get the opportunity to like sit down with somebody that's like really important in your line of work, that's famous or anything, I would want you to go to that meeting, go to that dinner, go to that lunch, go grab a drink with that person. Like, my birthday can wait. We can celebrate it later. So yeah, it hit a little bit different. But I'm excited to look into Anne Hathaway because I love her from so many other movies. Princess Diaries was absolutely huge for me growing up. It's one of my favorite movies. The first one and the second one, I absolutely love it. I revisit it from time to time, so I love Anne Hathaway, and I can't wait to dive into that energy with you. But before I do, I want to make an announcement because there's some new things happening. I've been working on this. I've been marinating this for a good, I want to say year or two, but I wanted to make soul contracts like not automatically generated, but able to be put into a code and into a chart where you can just enter your date of birth and it will calculate it for you and show you the numbers. And while I do not have the interpretation and the full analysis available yet, on my website, I do have this little generator that is so cute. It's going to show you the numbers in your soul contract. Eventually, that's going to turn into you being able to just like purchase full analysis, just have that all up on my website where you can enter your date of birth, hit get the full analysis, and then just have your soul contract in front of you and read it that way. That's been on my mind for a while. Those of you that are in my Soul Space course, you kind of got a front row seat to that. You kind of had a chance to be the first ones to experience that and test drive it. It's still a little wonky. It's still in the works, but I'll fix it. So without further ado, Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway was born November 12th, 1982. So right off the bat, we see the energy of the 11 and the 12. The 12, because she was born on the day of the 12th, she has a lot of creativity to her and a lot of spirituality to her. There's a depth to her that might not always be very visible on the surface, but she's a very creative person and she has a talent for coming up with very unique ideas, unique creative concepts that aren't readily available to other souls. So that puts her into a very good position to be in a very artistic kind of profession, like writing, like directing, like acting. And then we see the number 11. The number 11 is in her month of birth, and that is the number of strength. That's the number of resilience. This is a person that does not quit. Know how to push their limits. They are ones to push farther than their limits. Like they're the type of people at the gym that they'll get to a point where like they'll push themselves to the point where their body is giving out, and then it's like, okay, now the real work starts. Now we get to push ourselves even harder. They're kind of psychotic, but I absolutely love 11s because they have this motivation and drive to them and patience to them that also isn't readily available to others. Now, if you're hearing that I'm a little stuffed up, it's not because I'm sick. I have allergies. For the first time in forever, I'm not sick. I have allergies. I've taken my Claritin and it's like not even helping. But let's move on to Anne Hathaway's past life karmic debt, because that's usually when I get a sense of the soul and what it's come here to do, what kind of karma it wants to clear, and what kind of baggage we're looking at. So when it comes to Anne Hathaway, she has the karmic debt of a courageous warrior. So this is not her first time. This is not her first go around where she was in a position of power, authority, or majesty. She has the karmic debt that is 19-7. This means that at a certain point in their previous incarnation, they came into a lot of power, a lot of authority, and they may have used it consciously or unconsciously to the detriment of others. So in this incarnation, what she is here to work out is to learn how to be more conscious of her choices, to make sure that her choices aren't hurting people. And the best way I can frame this, the way that I see this popping up for me, is imagine a person that hops on the bandwagon really fast. Whenever something happens, they're really quick to arms. They're really quick to judgments and assumptions, and they will start to kind of be in a very and they will choose to either completely support or completely go against something. They'll be very heavily either on one side or the other. That is her karma. Her karma here is to make sure that she's not quick to follow the crowd with the pitchforks and the torches, and to really just consciously make decisions, to consciously try to assess what's going on, who's in the right, who's in the wrong, how do we mediate this, instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be an opposing party, I'm gonna take this side. So this is something that she needs to clear. And this is something that I see a lot in celebrities. This is a common past life karmic debt for celebrities, that they're kind of asked to slow down a little bit, to not think with their feelings, not act on emotions very quickly, but really do their due diligence to fact check, do their research, and be like, okay, maybe this is not all it's cracked up to be. Maybe I'm totally reading this wrong. So there's a certain level of responsibility that this soul needs to take on, where they're like, okay, I'm not going to let my emotions run away with me. I just heard terrible news about somebody. I am going to sit here, sit with it, and consciously be like, okay, let's think this over. Let's think about which side we're going to support, or if we're just going to be Switzerland. Ideally, when it comes to getting involved in other people's conflicts, you want to remain as neutral as possible. You want to remain Switzerland if it's possible. As far as past life karmic debts go, this is not the most malicious one. This is not a malicious one at all. This is not a heinous one. This is more of one where they might not have made the best choices. They might not have acted in the best interest of the people that they were leading, because they were in that position of authority. So now it's kind of brought back to them, where they're again in a position of power, in a position of influence in Anne Hathaway's case, and she's being asked to, hey, This time, let's slow it down. Let's not be quick to make decisions. Let's understand how our choices impact others, how our choices have a ripple effect on other people, and how they impact other people. So if I had to put one word, just like label this into one word when it comes to this karmic debt, it's a call to consciousness. It's a call to be more conscious of your choices and your decisions because they can hurt people. And again, unlike other karmic debts, this is not one where she was setting out to harm people, setting out to torture people. This is more one of where she didn't really think that her choice would have the repercussion that it did. So she's healing that in this lifetime. Should I get into her destiny? Should I get into her destiny and purpose? Because I usually don't. I usually go into her approach to life, like approaches to life and the scenarios that might play out. Let's go into her destiny. Let's go into her destiny and her purpose to give you guys an idea of what you can find in your destiny and in your purpose part of your soul contract. So when we look at Anne Hathaway's destiny, the destinies are divided into two age groups. One destiny is divided from ages 20 to 40. The other destiny is from 40 and up. So we are going to read her destiny for the 40s and up. For right now, she has the 14 and the 5, as well as the 19 in her destiny. She has those numbers. 14 is all about recognizing your deepest desires and aspirations. It's about a time of really diving into who you are, what you want out of life, and understanding yourself. This kind of sounds like a mini midlife crisis where you're kind of going into a part of your life where you might feel like reinventing yourself, reevaluating your priorities in life. So 14s are usually accompanied by that kind of energy. Now, the 5 in her destiny section of her soul contract is speaking to her need for evolvement, for growth, exploring new things, learning new things, as well as strengthening family connections. So working on your family dynamics, working on relationships. 5s also talk a little bit about being helicopter parents, as 5s in misalignment often do. The 5 in her destiny is asking her to be less demanding of her children, be less helicoptery, and really be in a place where you let them have enough room to grow and to become their own individuals. And the 19 in her destiny part is talking about being a leader. Being a leader and really nurturing the people that she is in charge of, the people on her team. It's kind of like she's put into this position of authority in order to be able to chase those ambitions that she has to provide for the people that are working for her. Now, Anne Hathaway's purpose is the number 6. And I love the number 6. I have several number 6s in, not a lot, but a couple of number 6s in my soul contract, but her purpose is to communicate with people, to be in a community, to be an active member of society, to be in a community of like-minded people, and to develop her talents and use her creativity, use the art that she is capable of making for the benefit of other people, for the benefit of consciousness. If she does not fulfill this purpose, if she does not use her creativity, if she kind of like sits on it and doesn't let herself express herself creatively, then there could be some manifestations of aggressive behavior, or she could lose the ability to channel that creativity and put it into her work. No surprise, when we take a look at subconscious programs, she has the high spiritual unification mission. Now, subconscious programs, for those of you that are new here, subconscious programs are thought patterns, cycles, could be generational cycles that you have been repeating in your incarnations that you now have an opportunity to have it play out in your incarnation and either heal it or just like close that chapter, move on from it, learn, and choose differently. In this case, when we take a look at the high spiritual unification mission, this is directly tied to her purpose. The high spiritual unification mission is a part of her purpose because it's essentially the same thing as what her purpose is saying that she is supposed to set out to do. Because this program means that you are supposed to create and gather, unite people that think like you, that believe in the same things you do, or that seek the same things that you do, unite them in a way, bring them together, and help them grow in a very, very powerful way. And with time, the stronger their influence is, the stronger their innate power is, or authority, the more people they're able to unite and kind of bring together in some way. And it doesn't have to be to unite to a cause or to a specific idea. It could be just uniting through their love of art, through their love of creative expression, like Anne Hathaway does. Okay, I just took a look at the rest of the programs that she has, and it's jam-packed. It is jam-packed, guys. She has so many programs, and when they're operating in alignment, this is not a bad thing because it's really a gift. But in misalignment, this could present as a very interesting incarnation. This could be a very dramatic incarnation if she hasn't done the inner work on herself, if she isn't really living in her purpose. So where do we start with this? Because there's a lot there. She has a self-destruction program, which means that in misalignment, she has a tendency of sabotaging herself, imploding in on herself, really getting in her own way when it comes to being successful, when it comes to having the life that she wants. Now, success looks differently for everybody. Even if she is successful, like successful Hollywood star, it doesn't necessarily mean that she has found what it is that she wants out of life. Like maybe that was one of her goals, but now like she wants to focus on something else. And this self-destruction program could put a damper on things, could put a damper on her trying to achieve what she sets out to do if it's in misalignment. When it's not in misalignment, the gift of that program of self-destruction is that they can very easily make decisions. They're ready for life-changing choices, like life-changing events. They know how to take risks. They're also surrounded by a lot of friends that can help them move on in life, that can offer them opportunities to be like, oh, like, I know that you wanted to become an actress. Like, there's this audition for this and this and this. That kind of thing. So that is the gift of self-destruction when you aren't operating from a place where you're trying to sabotage yourself because you don't feel worthy of what it is that you want, where you don't feel worthy of a good job, where you don't feel worthy of a relationship, a loving husband, like children, all that jazz. Followed by that, she also has a violence program. And the violence program is something that I do not come across often. But I have seen some pretty big names with those programs. And at some point, like, I started thinking, I'm like, do people that have this program, like, are they more prone to, like, early deaths or sudden deaths or, like, assassination? Because Marilyn Monroe has the violence program, JFK had the violence program, and I believe Princess Diana also had the violence program. So, when we take a look at that program, it carries the numbers 12, 11, and 17. When it's operating from alignment, the person that has this program is a very loyal friend. This is somebody that's able to see the best in people, that gives people the benefit of the doubt all the time, always, especially when it comes to the people they love. This is somebody that isn't afraid to take risks. Again, Anne Hathaway has this propensity to be able to dive into things that aren't sure, that aren't stable, but she's like, I'm going to go into the unknown because she doesn't have this fear holding her back of taking risks. This is the type of person that will always try something new at a restaurant. They're not a creature of habit at all. They like to experiment. They like to try new things. They like to experience everything they can in this lifetime. In misalignment, this gets a little bit dark. Because in misalignment, it starts to kind of border paranoia because this person, the bearer of this program, might start to feel like they have an us versus them situation going on where they might feel like somebody is out to get them. And for them, it might start to feel as if they're being hunted or pursued. So they start to really surround themselves with the people that they know and trust and not be very trustful of outside people. So they start to be very labely. They start to put labels on people that are in their inner circle and on versus their outer circle. And they're like, okay, those people are outsiders, those people are on the outs with us. And this kind of paranoia could get to a point where they refuse to meet new people. They don't want to make new friends. They don't want to meet new people. They feel like they already have the perfect life, perfect relationships, perfect environment, and don't want to change it in any shape or form. Now, here's where I'm getting a little bit of Marilyn Monroe coming in, because I feel like this is exactly what happened to her between her and JFK. This is the negative, the misalignment of the violence program. I'm going to read word for word what it says. Close relationships might deteriorate at some point, and loved ones may become cruel or even cold-hearted, which can cause deep emotional pain. Therefore, the soul does not understand why this happened because they feel that they haven't done anything in the relationship that caused it to become so different. This creates a conflict where they feel that they need to change their social circle, like completely drop the social circle they have now and get a new one. If they continue to be super paranoid and close themselves off from new relationships, new acquaintances, new friendships, and not trust people, they can live their life in distrust and loneliness. That feels very Marilyn coded, feels very Diana coded. And I'm wondering how this manifests in Anne Hathaway's life, because I feel like she's a pretty private person. I don't know that I know much about her, so I can't say how this is manifesting, but if you guys know something I don't, feel free to leave it in the comments. I'd love to see if there's anything playing out in her personal life where that might be the case. Then she has this program called Overestimation of Strength. Not surprising, she has a primary number 11. 11s are all about thinking that they are way stronger than they need to be, tougher than they need to be, and they're already really tough. As far as numerology goes, 11s are really, really tough, but they push themselves past their breaking point. That is their problem. That is their side effects, I want to say. That's what happens when they're in misalignment, and their lesson is to learn how to like tone it down a little bit. Like, you don't need to break your body in order to achieve the results that you want. So I found that interesting. I also found the Pure Stream program for her, for Anne Hathaway, and Pure Stream program is a very spiritual program as well. It essentially means you have a direct line to consciousness. You can channel directly from consciousness. I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Jackson has this, because this reminds me of that story where Michael Jackson would regularly call like his producers and everyone like into the studio at 3:00 in the morning, and everybody's like, why do you have to like call, why can't this wait until morning? Like, why do you have to gather everybody right now? And he's like, if I don't put this like down on paper, get this out, God's gonna give this idea to Prince, and Prince is gonna have a #1 hit. And that's the vibe when it comes to the Pure Stream program. Like, there's this tie to consciousness where you just channel information, you channel creativity, like creative expression, art, music, or in Anne Hathaway's case, ability to act, ability to perform. If she was a musician, I would say that this is how she's channeling her songs, her music. She's channeling it from source, from consciousness. So I love that she has that program. So that's the second spiritual program that she has. We also see a pretty popular program in Anne Hathaway's chart, the Revenge program. The Revenge program consists of the numbers 9, 14, and 5, and another popular celebrity we know that has this program is Taylor Swift. And I think I spoke to this, I have a love-hate relationship for this program, because on one hand, this is somebody that holds grudges for forever. They'll remember a grudge from kindergarten. They're one of those people that say, I forgive, but I don't forget. So this is somebody that knows how to hold grudges and will use people's like dismissal of them. Like if they felt dismissed or unheard or undervalued or underappreciated by someone, they're going to use that to fuel them. And that's what I love about people that have this program. They use that pain, they use the pain of somebody doubting them, of somebody saying, hey, you can't possibly be a world-renowned actor or actress. They use that to fuel them and become what the other person said that they can't become. And in that way, they kind of like get the last laugh. I feel like it's that kind of energy, which is, it's not necessarily malicious. It's like, yeah, you said I can't do it. Watch me do it now. So I like that vibe. She also has the Millionaire Program. Now, the Millionaire Program is a program that means that at some point in your incarnation, you are going to come into a lot of money, either through work, either through luck, like lottery tickets, or through business, like an investment, or like somebody passing and leaving their estate or leaving their money to you. Now, something that's a little bit contradictory to her soul contract is that the last subconscious program she has is of an ancestral nature. This means that her lineage has consistently kind of evaded or not addressed their spirituality. They were much too focused on the 3D, on material things, instead of their spirit, instead of their soul. And what happens when people evade that for long enough, the lineage eventually starts to have losses in the family at a very early age, or like families having a lot of conflicts, breaking apart, losing contact. There is something here for her to heal, considering the amount of attention that's being brought to her spirituality, to her spiritual side of her, especially with that 12 number energy that's heavy focus on the spiritual side. And then those two really spiritual subconscious programs she has, she's being called to not just think about the 3D, not just worry about getting what she wants out of life physically, but also on a soul level. Also fueling herself, fueling her spirit, and feeling fulfilled in that way. So the fact that that's popping up, I feel like the energy of that 12 was very intentional. She chose to be born on the 12th very intentionally. So she has that extra backup of being centered in her spirituality, of having to focus on her spirituality in this incarnation in that way. I don't feel called to share anything else about her soul contract. There's a couple of other things in there, but I don't feel like they're presently happening, so I'm not going to address them. But that is what I have for you guys when it comes to Anne Hathaway. She is a powerhouse of strength. She's a powerhouse of strength with that 11 energy, and that 12 is really helping her get in touch with her spirit, with her creative side, being able to use her creativity to express herself. And her soul contract kind of just feels like she has grit. She has grit, she has spunk. She is somebody that can pull herself out of a hole, like grab herself by her own britches, and pull herself out. She's kind of got that vibe. But that is all I have for you guys for Anne Hathaway's soul contract. I think I will be doing Michael Jackson's next because his nephew recently did a movie about his life called Michael. I really want to see it. So I'm going to be looking into Michael Jackson's. I've seen it before and I was completely blown away by it because there's so much there. So prepare to unpack a lot with Michael Jackson. But if you wanted to join my Soul Space course where I teach you how to read soul contracts, how to calculate them, and how to analyze them, feel free to do so. I'll put a link in the bio. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you thought, and have a great weekend. I will see you guys next Friday.